Right, hello everybody again. Today I'm going to work on Topsy's dress. And I've got a photograph here, so I don't have to bring Topsy herself. Actually, it probably would be easier to do her dress from herself. And her face from this photograph, which I took after the event. I've lightened the photograph so we can see the light and shade. Now, what I'm going to do is that next week, I'm going to do just a study of Topsy's face from this photograph. I found I had to print it out on glossy paper to get all the highlights and tones to show properly. But that aside, it's a much easier image to copy than Topsy herself, bless her, who in this environment was rather dark and difficult to see. So today, instead of doing that, I'm going to concentrate on completing her dress on the picture I started last time, and then see where we go from there. Right. Now you people are going to have to come up to watch, aren't you? Because you can't see from there, because I can't put it on the screen. Sorry. If you'd like to bring up a chair, and Geraldine. Oh. I think I will stand up. It's just somehow easier to stand up. Right. Well, there's the picture. Now, I want to put in the shadows on her dress, but I want to do them quite delicately, because if you do them heavy, it just makes the whole thing look a bit gross and rather mannered. And the other thing is, I've noticed that people have been using a grey to paint the shadows on the dress. I know in the photograph it does look grey, even in places of browny grey, but I think the picture will have more vitality and airiness if I actually use blue. And fortunately, I have used ultramarine in the painting of Topsy's face anyway. So we've got ultramarine, and we've also got a bit of burnt sienna to play with to make the image appear as we want it to. Right, let us proceed. Now, I don't want this to be a very strong color. I want a very light tone. On the other hand, if you make it too light and it dries, you don't see it. So you've got to play around with things till you get what you want. Right, okay. Right, I've got some blue paint on my brush. There's a shadow on her shoulder here. It's quite a square shadow on her shoulder, and I don't want that to be a hard edge. So I've cleared the brush of paint. It's damp with clean water, and I'm just going to run the clean water around the edge so that it softens the shadow edges a little bit, because they are soft on Topsy. Now, let's see, from there, her arm comes around a little bit, right about here. There's another shadow. Now this is the shadow that helps to form her arm. and it has quite a sharp edge on this side and a softer edge on the other side, on this side. In fact, this up here, both those sides there are soft. I think it might help if I put in the background a bit more there. So I'll take a bit more burnt sienna. And take it round here. Oops. And just to have a bit more colour to that. I think I might have come out a bit too far there. Come down a bit. See, I should have done this first, shouldn't I? That's actually better. Which means I got this shadow in the wrong place. Now, that's not a disaster, because I can take it out. I like getting it wrong to show you how to do it right. Now, so I've moved it now. I think that's a better shape there. So while I've got the paint on the brush now, I better do this side as well. So I, put there, I think. I don't know why I didn't do that when I was. Well, I know why I didn't do it. I was in a flat panic. That's why I didn't do it. Right, there we are. What happens here? It comes around here. Yes, that goes off there. So might as well do the whole thing while we're at it, and then we know where it is. Because that's wet, it should. I don't want those hard edges, do I? Hard edges. Not required on voyage. Right. Now, I better leave that until that's dried. So the other thing I could do is put on Topsy's bow, couldn't I? Now, if we look at the bow, it's quite dark here. A little touch of dark there. I think I better get the smaller brush for this. I've got one, why don't I use it, you know? Especially as I'm not particularly in the zone at the moment. I find when I'm in the zone, I forget which brush I've got and I just use the one that's in my hand. And when you're in the zone, that works, which is lovely. If you're not in the zone, it doesn't, which is less lovely. Right, now then, if I just I'm not drawing the edge and filling it in. I'm using the brush stroke to give me the expression that I want. Needs a bit more paint down there. Yeah, false. Now this bit over here, I haven't actually left enough space for this, so we'll just have to hope that it works.
Slow down as well. Could it be
Because,
different colours and shades?
well, yes, and that's what you have to do. In fact,
Yeah.
If you then it thins there. Doesn't have to be absolutely accurate, but see how it climbs if it's wet and fills the shape. And there's a bit there. Don't want that to go too far. It's going to go too far. Knock it up. Right. We could perhaps put a little bit more colour down here. It's not as intense as that. That's quite dark there. This area here has got a little touch of light. Right. And this, it's got too much paint on it at the moment. When that's dry, I can put a bit more foam in there. There we are. Let's give it a. It's a much brighter blue than is the actual case, but again, you know, nobody knows, do they? Right. So let's go back to the shadows now. I think that's dry. Yeah. Okay. So we have a shadow here, quite close to the edge of the garment, which comes round here. Now, I don't want that to run into the bow. It does actually cross the bow. I can get fairly near. Just as long as I leave a little bit of white paper, that will be better. Now, if I run a damp brush on the top of this edge here, it just begins to blend upwards there, making it a much less clear-cut sort of shape. And this edge is actually quite dark, so I'm just going to drop in the tip of the brush. I'm just putting it at this edge of the sleeve because this is her arm here holding the sleeve. Quite a lot of work in this. I need that to be more of a shape like that because that forms the cuff sticking back. And then on this side of the ribbon, I need to follow on from there and put in a little shape there, which drops down into quite a dark shape. Just there. Turns into a hand, so I'll leave that for the time being. I'm not going to put a hand in just yet. Right, now if we go back here, this has also got an area of shadow. Which comes round. And again, I want this to be hard. I want it to be soft. So just soften it off a little bit there. This is, yeah, well, sort of hard. I think I can get away with hard there. And because it's gripped around her wrist, which is about there, I think, there are little shadows coming down from that one. And that one. Right, and there is a shadow underneath here. Sweeps out a bit. And again, I don't want that to be hard-edged. So I use a damp brush just to soften the edge. Where's that going? That actually is pretty well the same shadow. So although it is, in fact, her hand comes out. I got her. Oops. Her hand comes there. Let's get that in the right place. It's quite fiddly, isn't it? I'm going to soften those edges too. They're a bit harsh. This one has quite a deep shadow here. And that has quite a deep shadow there. I'm just putting in dots of paint on the wet surface, just to soften it a little. Here we are. Right. Okay. Now, if we go across her dress here, there's a line, but don't just draw the line in. No. Try to be sensible about the thing. Goes to about there. And it's made up of gathers, really. And some of them are just little. So I'm using the edge of brush and actually dotting it rather than, and then occasionally you get a deeper mark. Try to keep to what's there. They're not equidistant. Don't say, oh, it's bang, 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 bang. You know, look at it, see what it is. And this one comes down here. It's quite a thin line and it thickens up. So use the brush to thicken up. Goes down there, right? There's another little one there that mimics it. Again, that thickens up just a little bit there. Ah, dear me. Your back's giving out. There we are. And now here, around about here, there's quite a heavy one. I'll make it a bit heavier. There we are. This is quite a heavy one. It comes down here. I made that too thick, but you know, I'm not going to do anything about that now. I'll thin it off. There we are. So we've got that. That edge is still a bit harsh. I'll wet it off again. See if it'll move into the water. Right. So, oh God. Right. We'll tackle the other side now. Again, we've got a strong shadow here. Which goes to there. And now that seems to be in shadow. There was this strange lighting because we had the lights overhead as well. So you do get some weird and wonderful things. Oh, there's a nice shadow there. I haven't noticed. It's better. Right. This dress, this ribbon is throwing a shadow. And then the shadow whisks off over here and goes into a deep fold there. That's quite a thick shadow. Down there. Oh. No, I can't see what I'm doing. Thank you. Now, there's this sleeve to be done with, and it's where to start, for heaven's sake. If we start there, it's quite a deep shadow there, isn't it? And we've got to leave room for a little hand, which comes around here. Yeah, I've got that in the wrong place. Oh dear. Right. This is why I need to learn how to draw. Right, this is quite strongly shadowed. I don't want that hard. I'll give it somewhere to go. Just wet the area around it. This also needs to be softened. But it's actually quite dark in there. You don't get the tone right. You lose the. Come in a bit too close with that. So I'm going to pay attention to the shape that it's making. Kind of stuff in it, I tell you. Right, now then. There's also a shadow over here. Triangular shadow, and this is the one that forms this sleeve. Again, far too to remember in the order to do these things. That is quite a strong shadow, that one there. So I'll leave it like that, and even dot in some darker paint just along the bottom edge.
10 minutes, ma'am.
Right, okay. Thanks, Rachel. Right, and you can see I've forgot what I was going to say now. Whatever it was, can't have been important. Again, it's much too hard. It needs to soften. Right. There's another one under here. Right, that's the whole of that sleeve. That's got quite a strong bit there too. And then underneath her hand, it comes down here. And underneath her hand is quite a dark shadow too. I haven't got to put the hands in. You'd see this a bit better. Right, okay. Where am I? Here we are. I wonder if I ought to put the hand in. Try over here, see what happens. This is where it all goes pear-shaped, right? There. There's the hand. It's just a black blob. It's not got any shape to it. And this one is here. There's a little hand. Right. Okay. So you can see. I haven't done them all. I haven't got the shadow of this ribbon in. I haven't got the intensity. I wonder if I can take that out. It's dry. I need to lift that there because that ribbon is lighter there and darker here. I don't want to get stuck in and make a mess of it. But you can see what you have to do and how you have to follow the folds, and take time to do what you can, and don't expect a howling success the first time you do it. As long as it approximates, it's good. This is far too harsh here. I need again to soften that, but you can do that by wetting the edge and using a damp brush and that kind of thing. So you can, because it's ultramarine, I can actually take it out completely. And I think I can probably do the same to the face, actually, take the face right out and start again. I might do that, but not next week. I'll be doing just Topsy's head.